So hello. For today's topic, we have this. We call this lesson 17, wherein we will discuss on the technology, the workplace, and society, and on how technology has affected us not only in daily lives but also its relevance in developing and shaping up our society. So we have these objectives. Describe the impact of technology on education, the impact of it on science and medicine, also on work and play, and also we'll be discussing the types of computer crimes, identifying computer viruses, various security measures. Also, we need to know computer-related laws, and also identify the work of hackers and describe how privacy is embedded with this computer use. So again, for the vocabulary, we have these terms. So under artificial intelligence, biometric security measures, computer-based learning, computer crime, computer fraud, computer hacking, copyright, data diddling, digital cash, commerce, e-commerce, and genetic engineering and groupware. Also in nanotechnology, also have online learning, which we are doing today. Optical computing, plagiarism, quantum computing, simulation, software piracy, time-bound, virtual reality or VR, also the term virus and worm. In education, the internet and the World Wide Web has been the biggest factor which affect our education up to today. So using internet for class research, no, not only for getting in the looking for information, but also it has become what we call as the online learning, because this become a platform wherein students and their instructors has a way to deliver these lessons, such as what we are doing right now, and also based on other computer-based learning and this type of computer-assisted instructions are which the methods to be used to deliver these lessons and instruction to the recipient or to our students. So this is an example of an education website. It's a basic how stuff works web page, but these are usually just a sort of a database of how most of the basic stuff works, and not only on learning various topics, but also on basically everyday topics that you can encounter as you go along with these kind of research. So simulations are models of real activities and designed to allow students to experiment and explore environments that might be dangerous, unavailable, or inaccessible. So this kind of uh, type of term that makes us sort of an exercise to experiment. No? So the term is experiment and explore before going into the actual environment. So it's the way it's kind of testing wherein uh, each result of these simulations are analyzed and evaluated depending on what the objectives of these activities are supposed to do. So in scientific discovery and technological innovations, these are the goals. No? One goal is the artificial intelligence software, which is used to process information on its own without human intervention. That is one of the basic definition. And then we go with genetic engineering, which refers to the changing of DNA in a living organism has positively impacted our lifespan. So you would know in science news, no, that there are several genetic engineering research that this scientists or these companies that goes into developing and also improving our how the humans can adapt, for example, for virus or any sickness that has affected in the past, and how we can develop a way that we can improve our system to in order for them to be less effective and less impactful to our lifespan. Now, for virtual reality, by its definition, it is an artificial environment that feels like a real environment created with computer hardware and software. So now there are a few of virtual reality related games, or which also acts like at times as an simulation to depict a real life environment, but it's sort of a just like a experiment platform. So you can check on if this artificial environment can be applied later on in the aspect of technology for the real environment setup. So this one is an example of a genetic engineering website. This cansbiorefs.com. So they have this molecular genetics uh, subtopic, and they also have links to the several uh, areas that are involved under this topic. So we have cloning, the internal version, protein synthesis, etc. So basically, you can just browse through here to the several links, and you can describe each of the definitions, not only on defining the subtopics, but also uh, mentioning some of the existing programs and projects that this type of uh, companies or scientists that are involved with. So for nanotechnology, it relates to creating components that are less than 100 nanometers in size. So if you might be familiar with the term when you were watching, I don't know, mga science fiction movies when they describe this nanotech as more on making computer functions in less than a tip of your finger. So basically, they're using to the size value of these components in creating this type of computer for technology use. Now for optical computing, so optical is the use of light beams for internal circuits instead of electricity. Then we also have quantum computing, which uses the laws of quantum mechanics as the way that atoms can be in more than one state at once to do computational tasks. Now for work and play aspect, that's be, it has the use of technology has affected just the way that we have this type of digital age that we are currently using and adapting to. So we have the way information and money is distributed is mostly through electronic method. No? So we have e-commerce now for having online business. So in example, or Shopee, or you can sell online via platforms like Facebook or eBay, and they have a digital cash system which allows the paying of the transaction through an app or a software, and using it to uh, pay out for your transactions in your e-commerce or for your online purchase. So one best example is the Gcash. So pinaka basic natin nga ginagamit sa buong ano, so you can use websites like PayPal, or some in eBay. You can also use credit cards, wherein we go to a website where like InstaPay to pay for your purchase or your service and transaction. So computer network, vital tool for helping this work run smoothly, and it goes to the term like groupware that describes two programs and software that help network the people to work them together despite these different locations. So the common example is the email. Also, we can have group chats, or more like a co-working platform where we can share the files. For example, we have Google Classroom inside where we share the files and other documents needed for these interactions with a company, or a kind of an office scenario. So also plays an important role in the life of computers. For example, like ordering pizza by using ATM, or we use online. Example, we use Foodpanda or GrabPay, yeah, or GrabFood to deliver this, and also pay through that platform. for that particular product. Now, for the technological issues, naturally, having this computer made our daily lives, but that's made our lives easier. But also, there are risks and problems encountered, and these are some of the usual issues that has come with in adapting technology in our daily lives. So, plagiarism is the one of the basic definition of having copying or presenting someone else ideas of work as your own without authorization. So this is the uh, common setup, especially online, wherein data information are pretty much available with just one click or one browse through a website. So at times it can be caused that we'll just copy those information or those story or article without informing the author or the rightful owner of that information that we're going to use it. So this is the term next to it, wherein it gives them protection for these authors on their creative works. So we call it as the copyright. So each article, or let's say idea or anything that can be filed for copyright is form of legal protection for them to maintain that they won't be plagiarized in in their work by these other persons or other companies, so they could not claim them as their own without having to work through the original authors of this idea or business. So computer crime, criminal act committed through the use of computer. So some we have some criminal acts, no, like hacking or phishing or any other related criminal act using the computer as its medium in performing that crime. Now, computer fraud also is sort of an example of a computer crime, but it's a way that at times that we could not initially prove who is the culprit on this, because of at times there are complete complexities of having computer data to know who are these the real persons behind this incident. So it involves the manipulation of computer data in order to obtain money, property, and value as caused by has caused the dishonesty or causing losses in property or information from the victim. So this computer hacking involves invading someone else's computer, so basically hacking or taking over of this computer, and at times they uses viruses. So this is a program written to cause the corruption of data or just sort of taking over the commands and let's say the softwares that are installed in the victim's workstation or PC. So in an example naman, worm makes copies of itself and slows down a PC. It's a sort of um, multiple copies, like making a huge amount of copies in an instant, which basically just clogs the processing of the PC. In effect, it slows down, or at times, at the worst case, it can disrupt the software or the operating system of this PC. So time bomb again example is causing damage at a time in the future. This is like similar to the Trojan horse, but it just there is a, as the term implies, there's a limit or a time acted wherein it will trigger the program, or it will just run the virus that will cause damage to this to the PC. So Trojan horse is a hardware software that does exit unexpected. No? For example, it's like By the term Trojan, if you've known the history of the term, it will just be copied into the computer. Like innocently, you won't recognize at first that it is a virus, but later on, it will just uncover a program wherein it will just self-run inside your computer and then release these harmful uh, uh, information or programs that will disrupt your other existing programs in the computer. Also, an email viruses can also be transmitted using these email messages to carry the virus. So make sure there are some that are covered in spam, given that most of the email platforms are already built in virus scan wherein they usually go through the email before opening it, before allowing you to open it. And most are most suspected virus emails are goes to the spam or are immediately deleted by this email antivirus. But in practice, they should be wary of opening random emails where thus which we think would be suspect to contain these email viruses when open to your computer. So this is an example, security scanning virus detection. Semantic is a company that uses this scanning not only in your computer, but also they have this software for browser security, where they would also scan websites before opening them to make sure that you won't be a victim of these instant phishing sites or other um sites that may contain malware or other harmful information and links that would lead to uh, getting your computer hacked or any other incident whatsoever. So the type of computer time is a crime committed regularly in the workplace. And changing data before and after this entered in the computer is called data diddling. And computer equipment and data are subject to hazards. That is the issue as well. If these actual hardwares and other peripherals that you're using in your computer can be can be destroyed by flood and fire. So illegal copying using software is called software piracy, and working on computers for a long period of time can cause health-related issues, like what we mentioned before in our first topic. No, that should be on your uh, kumaga yung work periods and smart home computer should be regulated, and that you won't get to the time that you can cause health issues to you. So you should also practice to make sure that you won't malingaw ba sa tumang sa computer. So you should time wherein spend again some schedule for computer use, which at times should also need to take breaks to rest your eyes and sa hands naman para for avoid carpal tunnel issues naman. The information submitted on the internet can be used in computer crime. So be wary also of any information that you can submit. For example, mga IDs or your contact numbers or your other information that can be used to hack or to depict you as another actual person, or other persons may use it to do suspicious transactions online. So the best way to protect data is to control access of data through passwords of the use of passwords. Then the security measures also include using ID. Firewalls not an antivirus software given as antivirus for every installation of your workstation or PC should also include the antivirus, and selected hiring processes and data backups. So that apps can be used offline or online. Mostly you can use a Google Drive for these backups, but also they can be limited, of course, in your access. You should need internet access to do these backups regularly. Aside from the offline backups, wherein anytime you can get to access them, even if you have no internet connection. Then for biometric security measures, it examines a fingerprint, a voice or pattern, or the iris retina of the eye, and compare them against the poly records. This while biometrics that we use is fingerprint, wherein we just put in our uh, thumb or the, the index finger to scan and to for the system to copy and make sure that it is uh, your identity, your identity fingerprint, which you can later on use to log in to access your data, or you can log into your computer, or even at work. No? You can use biometrics to time in, sort of a time in information that you have time into your office or your company. So to summarize, technology is having a tremendous impact on education, and it has predicted that technology will change the entire structure of education. So obviously, Subong, may we have this like online platforms wherein thus the structure of education has adapted it for the students to have sort of a blended or other forms of learning for them to adapt to this technology to be able for them to apply it as they go along through the school year or through the semester. And the internet and the World Wide Web are the biggest factors affecting education today. Of course, we have almost all of the data available online. We just at the tips of our one search away, or your one type of a website or search engine away to get to that particular information. So some people also predict an anti-technology backlash, but not sure if it's still going on nowadays. So electronic commerce is the buying and selling of goods and services in the internet, or we should call it the e-commerce. And digital cash allows someone to pay online by transmitting a number from one computer to another, or online transactions, or digital cash sample, easy pay, or the like. And the new jobs and new job categories are being developed because of the internet and electronic commerce. And some technological advances are voice recognition, non-lethal weapons, space travel, flying cars. Not sure if it's already here. Smart shoes, smart seats, classified orders, electronic shopping. The computer crimes become a major problem nowadays with the lack of which has cost companies billions of dollars. Examples are hacking and going through the I don't know online transactions without the consent of the owners. So it's become a problem that has cost most of these companies billions of dollars. So computer fraud, the conduct involves the manipulation of computer or computer data for dishonest profit. And the hacking version involves invading someone else's computer, and it is done for again for financial gain, and sometimes for just pranking the owner. So the computer virus program that's been written to cause corruption or data to the computer, and to protect against viruses, make sure you can immediately install an antivirus program and make them to regularly scan or and update it for your PC's protection. And computer security is also necessary to keep hardware and software and data safe from harm or destruction. The common way to access data is, of course, using passwords. I mean, to control access is to use passwords. And software piracy, legal copying using software, and it has cost companies millions of dollars in lost sales. And laws has been passed in an effort to assist those who have been injured by computer crimes and offenses. So if you are familiar, we have cybercrime laws. Recently, we have these laws that is applied also. But the problem is they are, some of them are difficult to prove and prosecute. So they are most likely given just sanctions or bans, but most of the crimes committed are just done in the actual, are not really solved as to its core. So that's the wrap up for this topic. We'll just have review questions later on after this lecture. So thank you for watching.